are you doing?
My new mask.
Why?
It's too much? It's too much.
No, you actually have good cheekbones in that.
Fine.
Oh, and you have that mask on.
Well, yeah. This mask protects other people. This mask makes sure people stay 6 feet away from me.
Hey, I like that tip.
Yeah, that's right.
Wait until I get my mask out now.
Where is it?
I'm wearing it. No?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
I will not stay 6 feet away from you when you look like that. So, boom. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, how are you doing? How was your Pride weekend?
It was good. I actually, since I wasn't able to celebrate my birthday, because, with the swab and everything, I was able to celebrate my birthday this weekend with just immediate family. Okay. And it was the cutest thing. Little Roger, like every single day, was nonstop like, we got to get Megum. He calls me Megum. It's not even Megum. We got to get Megum a monster cake. And Beth went out and found like this little tiny cupcake that had like the blue monster. What's his name? I don't even know.
I have no idea.
Cookie Monster.
Oh.
They had the Cookie Monster like on with like the big eyes, and made sure that she had like a monster cake in the house, like when we had like our little barbecue, just so little Roger could. It was the cutest thing ever. Liam, so we got to, Liam and little Roger with the cake. It was just a great day. Oh. So I didn't obviously go out, celebrate Pride, but I celebrate that every day.
Every day. Celebrate yourself. Born that way.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But how was your Pride?
It was good. It was different. It was very different. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, it was, normally on Pride Sunday, we're on a float, we're handing out beads and other sorts of promotional stuff for one of the companies that I used to work for, they still like me for some reason, so they always invite me back for the float, and it's super fun.
That's nice of them.
But there were no parades to be had this year, so it was very low key. Actually, a group of the neighbors passed out some flyers. Not passed out. I passed out later, but they passed out some flyers about bring your own chair and your own beverage, and we'll all just sit on the front lawns, 6 feet apart, and hang out, and it was nice. We had some friends that we've had in kind of our inner circle this whole time came by, and we just sat in chairs and drank mimosas and got heat strokes. It was great. It was wonderful. Yeah.
Well, don't we get heat stroke every year for Pride?
True. Yeah. Normally it's a lot more.
I feel like it's the hottest day, or it rains. It's always like the worst weather on
Right.
Pride,
Well, normally you have an excuse because you're literally in a parade, where you can't leave to go inside. We had every excuse, but we just didn't do it. So yeah.
Right.
Right. So it's fine. But it was good. It was great. And I feel like we haven't really done a ton for Pride this month in general. You posted something on our Facebook page about how June is Pride Month, and you don't see anybody in the LGBT community complaining that no one's talking about us, because there are much bigger things happening right now and other communities that need our support. And I totally agree with you in that respect.
Yeah. We've come a long way, and it's time for, the Black community, the Brown community, so many different communities that they need our help too. So.
And even within our own community, Black trans individuals.
Oh, absolutely.
Are being killed a lot in this country, and in many cases being misidentified by the police or on their autopsy reports, and essentially their identities are as if they never existed, which is terrible. And so we have a lot of work to do there too. So, well, on that note, we started talking about Pride, and it got kind of deep there, but yeah. So, all right. Well, then you want to just dive in?
I'm ready. Head first. Let's do this.
Episode 3.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I don't know if anybody else is excited, but I'm excited.
I'm pretty terrified. So, there's not much going on in the news.
No, not really.
No.
I haven't seen anything. No major headlines, nothing.
No. So, I had to dig pretty pretty deep for some of the stuff. I found something that was interesting, though. Something about Russia putting bounties on the heads of American soldiers.
I don't think I've heard that before.
No, yeah, it's
It
not.
sounds like fake news to me. I'm sorry. No.
Well,
I don't.
I'm sure Trump would love for it to be fake news, but it turns out that it's not. And he's actually going way out of his way to deny even knowing about it, but not going as far to say that it's not true. But so, for those of you playing the home game, which is everybody during a pandemic, based on a New York Times article that came out on Friday, the U.S. Concluded months ago that a Russian unit that was linked to assassination attempts and other covert operations in Europe and throughout were secretly offering rewards to Taliban-linked militants to kill American troops and other coalition forces, so our allies, British, French, whomever is working in Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. And as usual, Trump is playing the "nobody told me, I can't be blamed, it was Obama" thing, which is just no.
He's guilty of everything. Obama did everything to this country.
Right. And the New York Times is saying that Trump had been briefed on the matter, and that the White House National Security Council actually discussed this as early as early last year. But yeah. I think some other dates.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's actually crazy. Most of the things that we have come across do date back to early last year. But of course, when I was doing some digging, because everybody knows that I like to get to the bottom of things.
All the things, yeah.
All the things. Going back to March 23rd of 2018, there was actually a commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan, and his name was General Dan Meg Jr. And he told BBC that there was Afghan leaders had shown U.S. commanders weapons that had been smuggled across the border to Taliban fighters by Russians. So this is going back March 23rd of 2018. And most of the, 2018. Wow. And this is when he told BBC, and most of the dates are only going back to 2019. At that exact same time, General Mick, he said that it was believed to be smuggled, by the GRU, which everybody knows is, or in case you don't know, is a Russian military intelligence unit. And now the U.S. intelligence suspects that the GRU are the same ones who put the bounties on the heads of American soldiers. So if this is all linked together, this goes all the way back to 2018. Mm-hmm. You could say coincidence, maybe, but you have too many dates in a row. So I do want to bring out just a little timeline, break down some dates for everyone.
Yeah, first I did the timeline last week. Now you're doing the timeline.
Yes. So, of course, we have March 23rd, 2018, where you have a commander that is literally in the war zone that is raising concerns about Russia smuggling weapons to the Taliban, and you have no response or anything from the White House. Then you have in 2019, where other commanders were coming forward with the same intel, and you had raids and interrogations on the ground by U.S. troops in Afghanistan, which led to a huge cash stockpile and bank records showing that the Taliban was receiving money from Russia. And I kind of am wondering which bank that was. So I can't wait for that to eventually come out. But again, the White House, no response. Then going back to January 2020, you have American intelligence officers and special operations forces in Afghanistan. They were sounding those same alarms that has been going on going back to 2018 now. And this is, January 2020, still no response from the White House. Now it's coming out that February 27th, you had two people that kind of leaked the news, which everybody's upset about who would leak this information. As soon as you're pointing your finger at somebody that's, told the little information, that's when you know it's true. But, one of the people did say that the date was February 27th of 2020. During the president had a daily brief, and it included intel about Russia paying the Taliban to kill American troops in Afghanistan. Still no response from the White House. So then you have late March 2020, the National Security Council has a meeting discussing options of diplomatic protest or sanctions on Russia. And they were pressing for like top level review by senior Trump administration officials. And again, nothing from the White House. May 4th, 2020, the intel was serious enough because, again, they're all saying this wasn't serious enough, or they had, conflicting opinions and everything. But yeah, it was serious enough on May 4th for this to be included in the CIA's World Intelligence Review. No response from the White House. So we have all of this intel and no response from the White House. And then after the story breaks in the media over the weekend, the White House said that Trump, Pence, his entire team, that none of them were ever briefed on any of this directly. So trying to like use words or go around it to, try to cover it up. And, as of now, like the only suggestion that I would have is, to read the damn PDBs. Mm-hmm. Those are presidential daily briefs. Like read the briefs. Mm-hmm. And
although if you talk to Fox News, not every president reads all of those. So that's totally the yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's just it's crazy because every official that has come out and spoken about this now has said that every president gets a PDB every single day. They're briefed at the White House. Vice president is briefed even before he gets to the White House, and then briefed again once he gets there. They are briefed every single day, and Trump is the only one that doesn't want one every single day. Mm-hmm. And just like tells everybody like, oh, just give me the Cliff Notes version. Like that's not what you do as commander-in-chief.
Or maybe pictures, a flip book. I'm trying to help him out. I mean, he needs
to some pictures. I can't with you. I find it absolutely crazy that they could literally say that Trump and the White House, like they didn't know about this, but yet you have commanders that raised concern. You have money that was found and traced to Russia. The CIA knew, the Pentagon knew, the FBI knew, and the damn British were alerted.
That's the thing that I have concerns about is, and it's already starting to happen though. It's like people that have been our allies traditionally mm-hmm. are totally losing faith in us right now. And maybe it's not us collectively, it's the idiot in the White House, but that's, yeah.
Yeah, right. And just, it's astounding that while all of this is going on, you have Trump that doesn't address anything, but yet he's pushing for Russia to be part of the G7, and he's withdrawing troops from Germany, which is just what Russia wanted.
So his response to this essentially is to get Putin back into the G7, would be the G8, which Angela Merkel shut that shit down real fast.
Right. It was a G8, now it's a G7. You're not going back in.
No. And then, so then we remove our troops from Germany. One of,
It's just, again, you could say coincidence or no.
Or maybe everything we've been saying about Russia has been true.
Oh, you know how many people do not want to hear that?
I know, I'm sorry. I'm going to say Bob Mueller later too, so that's going to trigger some folks as well. Whoopsies. Well, and so as you said, like the White House denies ever getting briefed on this, right? And so that could have been one of two things. Like you said, maybe they talked about it, and that was after the first 5 minutes where Donald Trump actually had like full attention, and then after that he's just kind of, or they handed him something in writing, and he didn't read it because it was a little more advanced than the fifth grade level than he's currently used to reading at, right? And it's true. He also can't spell. Like read the tweets, people. The man cannot spell.
I can't handle his tweets.
You're supposedly the leader of the free world. You can't have somebody proofread your goddamn tweets?
I can't deal. I go on Twitter a lot just to check up on him, and I just cannot deal.
Well, and speaking of Twitter, so instead of coming out and, condemning what is alleged to have happened, right? And with the level that this has gone up through our government and our intelligence agencies, it's safe to say that these are credible, right? Even though they said that they weren't credible or verified. So in his true childish way of handling things, Trump took to Twitter and said things like, with corrupt Joe Biden and Obama, Russia had a field day taking over important parts of Ukraine. Where's Hunter? And it's like, do you think that, like, when he does sleep, in the course of his night terrors that he has, aside from screaming out Nancy Pelosi's name, he just shouts Hunter, like, and there's like, Hunter, what? And then, Melania has to come and knock on the door and say, hey, shut the fuck up, I'm trying to sleep. And then, then Lindsey Graham rolls over and pets his shoulder. He's like, okay, honey, just calm down, It's just like, he goes, no, Lady G, it's fine. It's just those Dems again coming at me, creating all these conspiracy theories.
Did you just say Lady G?
Oh yeah, look it up, friends. Lady G. There was we could talk about that. Maybe we'll have Lindsey Graham be part of our new segment too.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't deal with the picture now that I have in my head of Lindsey Graham just LG just laying there petting him.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
Oh God.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I might be crying a little bit.
Okay. You have to cry. It's good. So
we'll get through this.
And then in another tweet, which I don't, he said, Russia ate his lunch and Obama's lunch. Or no, Russia ate his and Obama's lunch during their time in office. What the fuck? What does that even mean? I don't get it. Maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe we're not smart enough to do that. So
maybe that's like SOS to Putin. Like, we're not supposed to understand it, and that's him just like, fuck, I'm in some trouble, come get me.
I'm ready for my evac right now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So while he's tweeting from the toilet, actual government employees are doing their jobs and looking into these credible threats, right? And they're reviewing possible deaths that occurred in 2019, or maybe throughout the course of 2018, to some of the dates that you brought up.
Right.
One in particular, in April of 2019, there was a car bombing that was directed toward a convoy in Afghanistan, and it killed 3 Marines. And so that's one of the instances that they're looking into to see if that is some way, shape, or form tied to these bounties.
Yeah. One of the families of the Marines actually, came out and they're requesting like a full investigation. And it's just horrible that you have these people that, join the military to fight for, our freedoms, and they're over there. And now this whole scandal is coming out that the commander-in-chief possibly knew that there was a bounty on, Americans' lives and did nothing.
Yeah, right.
The
commander-in-chief did nothing.
Absolutely did nothing.
Yeah.
And they literally described like that Humvee like blowing up, or it didn't. They were set on fire. Like literally, there was other Marines that they were burned alive. They were trying to pull them out of the Humvee. And I know that's like graphic. People don't want to hear it, but this is potentially something that's linked,
especially for the families that lost their loved ones. Yeah, right. And to think that their own government essentially didn't have their back, at least with what we're learning.
Right.
Here,
Right.
And
for other commanders that were, in the war zone, that were coming forward since 2018, like I would take the word over anybody that was over there that's coming back with this intel.
Right.
I would take the word over of all of them over anybody in the White House.
Agreed, completely.
On both sides.
Yeah. You did bring up a bank that we had some suspicions maybe that we know the name already. I don't know.
Yes.
Did you want to touch on that at all?
So I want to, a big thing that I'm waiting for it to come out, because I'm very interested in which bank, the money was traced to when all, the scandal broke. Because there's Deutsche Bank. We've all heard about Deutsche Bank, which it's just a little iffy that Deutsche Bank is tied to Trump, Jared Kushner, and Jeffrey Epstein. And Yes.
Who didn't kill himself, by the way.
Did not kill
No,
himself.
there's no scandal there at all.
No, he definitely did not kill himself. So you start to wonder, like, this bank is involved in money laundering. It's German bank. It's involved in money laundering with Russia and some U.S. officials. So you start to think, like, what does Putin have over Trump? Is this somehow linked? And people will say, oh, it's a conspiracy, like all of this. Well, the next couple of days, hopefully the Supreme Court is going to have a decision on whether Trump should release his taxes or not. And Deutsche Bank actually has Trump's financial records going back, I think they said like 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this could all tie in a lot of unanswered questions that we've all had for years about his taxes. And he's been fighting, his lawyers have been fighting that he shouldn't have to release any of his taxes, but now the Supreme Court, it's their decision.
Yeah.
And I just find it crazy that when no other bank would loan Trump any money because he was in financial distress, it was absolutely horrible, and he was
terrible businessman.
Yeah, right. When no other bank would, this Deutsche Bank came out of nowhere and actually gave, between him and Kushner, $2 billion. So they've had $2 billion that was just a loan that no other bank would give them. Mm-hmm. It's tied to money laundering. It's just, they were raided by Germany. Mm-hmm. They were raided involving money laundering going back to Russia. And they had to pay $7.2 billion in settlements to the US for not following regulations, $2.5 billion to the US and to the UK for rigging interest rates, and then hundreds of millions of dollars in penalties for involvement in Russian money laundering. And they refused to turn over financial records for Trump. Like, this doesn't sound suspicious to anybody. Like,
for somebody who says that he's innocent, he's sure looking guiltier and guiltier as
right?
time goes.
I mean, if it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, it's a fucking duck. Donald Duck.
Oh, good one. I see.
Ooh.
That was
thinking quick on my feet right there.
Did not even plan that.
That was sexy.
Oh my God, you're such losers. Okay.
We really are. Nobody's watching this one for sure. Yeah. But Deutsche Bank was actually the bank that introduced Trump to these key officials in Russia, who were the ones that are actually being investigated for money laundering. And these same key officials were the ones that were investing in his resorts and skyscrapers. Mm-hmm. So it's like, and then another thing about the bank, their own compliance staff were the ones that actually like raised the alarm about like concerns of money laundering. And as they went to management and started to move up, management turned around, and because then it went to, the people that run the bank, mm-hmm. They silenced them instantly and then fired them. So shut down everything. So this is also, when people are like, oh, this is just another conspiracy theory that just came up in the last week. Mm-hmm. Like, no, this has been going on for a long time.
And follow the money. That's the way that we're all going to figure it out.
Yes.
Especially Donald
Trump. If anybody knows my past, they all know that I follow the money.
That was good.
It is. If anybody knows what I've been through, they know. Yeah. Follow the money and it all comes out.
Yeah, that's right. We should do a segment about that too.
Maybe we shouldn't.
Okay, never mind. So follow the money, or in Donald Trump's case, lack of money, because he has none. So that's
right. Just his loans.
Yeah, right. So that probably does answer the question of why Donald Trump has largely been very silent over this whole thing. No condemning Russia or anybody about this, running from it. Or maybe he's just waiting on his talking points and marching orders from the Kremlin, and basically said, well, this is what you can say, this is what you can't say.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, we're going to release these tapes or something.
Tapes. Ooh.
Tapes.
I'm interested to see what's on some tapes.
I'm not interested.
I mean, I don't want to see it, but
I can't unsee that now. So, do you have anything else on this wonderful
nightmares,
conspiracy or corruption scandal? No. There's more to come. I think that we're seeing a lot of people very interested in this, and they're going to keep digging, which they should. And we'll keep everybody posted as best we can on our Facebook page and Twitter and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Because it's still developing, so it's just there's going to be some interesting stuff in the next couple of days, weeks, months, year.
Yeah, and we'll be there with you.
We'll be right here.
Drinking heavily.
Yes.
Because it's all you can do. Mm-hmm.
Right? What are you drinking over there?
Martini. What are you drinking?
White Russian. Oh.
Okay. Good. Perfect choice. Perfect choice.
I thought it went with the theme.
I mean, I'm just drinking straight vodka, so that's kind of what the Russians do too. So that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm drinking Kool-Aid and vodka.
Oh, well, that sounds like a perfect White Russian.
All right.
So I'm going to dive into our new segment that we are unveiling today.
Yes, I'm so excited for this.
As we mentioned, we are going to take a few minutes in each episode to go over a new segment that we've called Trump's Swamp Spotlight.
Yes.
Where we take a few minutes to kind of introduce you to some of the sleazy, grifting, corrupt people that the president decides to surround himself with. Mm-hmm. So
he did his entire campaign on let's drain the swamp, and I think we're helping him by draining the swamp. Mm-hmm. We need to call these people out.
And also how he has the best people, which is actually today's person. I was going to do Stephen Miller based on our conversation last week because we were talking about racism, and there's no more racist person than Stephen Miller. Well, there probably are. Right. But today we learned that Representative Steve Cohen of Tennessee introduced a resolution opening up an impeachment inquiry into Bill Barr, our Attorney General. And I use that term loosely. And it's about goddamn time, okay? Right. And I get it. People are going to say, why now? It's just a ploy. We're in the middle of a pandemic, which those same people also called the pandemic a hoax and refuse to wear masks and still want to go get their hair cut. But, you know, we have to learn, we have to chew gum and walk at the same time here, friends, okay? Like, I know you and I can't do that.
Yeah, not at all.
But more capable people should. And so the House has passed several bills, like 180, that are currently still sitting on Mitch McConnell's desk going nowhere, okay? And another one is the HEROES Act, which is aid for the pandemic. So before people saying that the House of Representatives doesn't care and they just want to impeach. No, they're doing a lot of things, okay?
Absolutely.
But Representative Cohen introduced the resolution because he says Barr has politicized the Department of Justice, undermined the rule of law, abused his power, obstructed justice, and violated the First Amendment. So damn.
I was gonna say that's quite a list right there. It's racking them up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we could add some more to the list.
Yeah, I mean, and current events, you don't have to search far for all of the things that Bill Barr has done to obstruct justice and ensue corruption in the Department of Justice. But among many of the corrupt things that Barr has done, one that probably tipped this over the edge was ordering military to use force and tear gas American citizens who were peacefully protesting just so Trump could walk across a park and hold a Bible that wasn't his, that he never read, for a tasteless photo op. Just like that. Is that a Bible?
No, I would never hold the Bible like that. I just saw a book there, and perfect opportunity to show how he did it.
Yeah. So that was
I also don't read,
probably what tipped this over the edge. But Bill Barr has a pretty interesting history. And he earned his name as the cover-up General Barr by a journalist who was covering one of the biggest scandals that Bill Barr has done. And it helped bury evidence of both Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush and their involvement in what was called the Iran-Contra Affair. So Ronald Reagan was a governor at the time, running against Jimmy Carter for president. And at that time, Iran had taken several hostages, Americans as hostage, and the Carter administration was working to negotiate their release. And Carter needed to get this done. It was an election year. He wanted these people home safe. The American people were starting to lose faith, and they were working towards a solution. Well, in comes Reagan and his campaign. Now, mind you, he's not any, he's not an elected official from a national standpoint right now, right? And he wasn't appointed. He's a governor of California. Mm-hmm. So he and his campaign, not him, set up secret back channel negotiations with Iran to free American hostages on their terms, working against Carter's administration. And the agreement was to have Iran hold the hostages until after the election, mm-hmm. at which point Reagan, presumably the new president, would then secretly ship substantial American weapons and supplies to Iran. And it worked. Carter was not able to negotiate the release of the hostages. He lost the election. Reagan came in, and almost immediately after his inauguration, these shipments started being made to Iran. And so here we have a presidential candidate colluding with a foreign government to manipulate and win a presidential election, and gets away with it. And they weren't going to get away with it because there was an investigation. It took a bit of time. It was after Reagan's presidency and George H.W. Bush was president. Mm-hmm. And the independent investigation was actually starting to get pretty, they were starting to conclude. And a lot of individuals who had previously testified were going to testify again, saying that they lied to Congress. And it was actually going to unleash new evidence that implicates George H.W. Bush and Ronald Reagan being much more involved than initially thought. Wow. And at that time, Bill Barr is George H.W. Bush's attorney general. And so he calls Bill Barr, and Bill Barr advises that H.W. should just pardon 5 of the key players before they can testify and before the evidence can be brought out. So he did this, I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day in 1992, which is just the month prior, H.W. lost the election to Bill Clinton. Right. And so perfect time to do it, right?
Wow.
So Barr made that go away. And in the end, Reagan's reputation was slightly tarnished because he did actually negotiate with terrorists, which is the thing that we don't do. And Bush was able to save face, and his son was able to then be president 8 years later.
Wow. All because of Bill Barr.
All because of Bill Barr. So naturally, who else would Trump want in the Justice Department to help him get away with all the stupid shit that he's doing?
Yeah.
Bill Barr. Yeah.
Right. I mean, if that's the case, where's my phone? You have his phone number?
Yeah, we can call him later. Yeah, I've got some parking tickets I need to go away. So maybe that, yeah, right.
Bill, can you help us?
And he did this. We saw this again. Here's the name, Robert Mueller. He did it with the Mueller report. He didn't even release the full report. He just cherry picked things that basically said Donald Trump did nothing wrong. And if you read more of the report, you realize, that's actually not true. He did a lot of things wrong. And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if this impeachment goes anywhere. I don't know if it will, but
probably not.
If it does, the Senate has shown its true colors, and they refuse to take their oaths of office seriously. So that's the first edition of Trump's Swamp Spotlight. Bill Barr, our attorney general.
You learn something new every day.
Hopefully not for long. So yeah. So that's what I've got. I think if you want to pick the next one next week, you're more than.
I will. Yeah. Who am I going to be? Maybe Lady G? I mean, I'm not sure.
Clutching my pearls.
We'll see who it's going to be.
Also, before we wrap up, I think we ran a little long here, but we just wanted to say thanks. Megan posted today. So side note, we record on the Tuesday, we post on the Thursday. So Megan posted today that our second video reached 1,000 likes, or 1,000.
Yes.
And it should be 1,000 likes, so keep doing that. Yes. But thank you everyone for watching. And
views, not likes.
Views, I said, but it should be 1,000 likes. But,
oh yeah.
Right, yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't listening to you.
Nobody ever does.
No.
And so thank you guys very much. And we hope that you guys
thank you very much.
Keep watching these. And we'll keep at it.
Yes.
So until next time, thanks for joining us for a Politini with Dan and Meg.
Yes, thank you very much.
Bye, y'all. See you soon.
Bye.